guys, this is Caleb with DSLR Video Shooter, and today we're going to talk about what the heck's going on with all these camera releases. So if you've been on Twitter or Facebook or really anywhere online and you're a camera enthusiast in the department of video, you have noticed that cameras are coming out every 5 minutes, it feels like, and there's some big releases coming up. So I wanted to talk about the different cameras and which ones I've pre-ordered, which ones we're going to talk about on the channel, and just some interesting thoughts. And I would love to hear your interest and comments on all of this as well. So jump in that comment section below and let me know what you think and if you're going to be picking up one of these new cameras. So the first one I want to talk about is from Fuji, the Fuji X-H1. I'm really stoked for this camera. This will be the first Fuji I have ever purchased. You guys have been telling me for years, and my friends have been telling me for years, Caleb, you've got to check out Fuji stuff. The color is amazing. The cameras are really slick, and there actually has some decent video specs, you know, especially if you're thinking about what Canon has offered. Fuji beat them to doing 4K in a DSLR or a mirrorless camera. So yeah, really excited about that camera, and I'm mainly interested in the color because we have F-Log now internally, so we can record on a log profile, and Fuji's just known for their color. Everyone I've talked to who has those cameras, or anyone who's a photographer, a lot of people love the color science of those cameras, and you know, Fuji really knows their stuff, having done film stocks. So we're going to get a film stock, essentially a digital one, with the Fuji X-H1. So I'm curious to see what that camera is going to be like. There's some funky quirks, but I'm really excited to finally try a Fuji camera. So that's going to be arriving here in a couple days in the studio. The next camera is kind of a weird one from Canon, the M50. I've also pre-ordered this. I won't lie to you guys though, I really didn't want to. At first it was like, whoa, 4K and a camera under $1,000 from Canon? That's super exciting. But there's some definite problems with this camera. Yes, it shoots 4K and it sounds like the vlogger's dream, but as you guys may have already heard, you don't get dual pixel autofocus when shooting in 4K. There's a massive crop, so it's kind of not worth it. If you're a vlogger and you want all those great specs, you might as well just get a Canon 70D, 80D and use that, because in 4K it's just not really going to be as usable. That said, if you're not a vlogger, it might be interesting. If you really want to have a Canon camera, you can now actually shoot 4K on something under $1,000 with a decent, you know, still has a crop, but it's got a larger sensor, which is nice. So when that ships, we'll be talking about that and taking a look at the 4K quality to see if it's going to work for those who have to have or really want to have a 4K Canon budget body. The next camera is going to be the Sony A7 III, and I am wildly excited about this camera. $2,000, so we're competing with the GH5, has stabilization or IBIS, great at low light, great autofocus, that full frame sensor, dual card slots, a bigger battery. It's just ridiculous how much Sony put into this camera, and I can't believe they did all that and are selling it for $2,000. So that camera is going to sell like hotcakes. I have pre-ordered one. As you can tell, this is going to be an interesting year for cameras, and we're not even through a lot of the big releases this year. So that is the Sony A7. So where does all this leave us? We've got lots of great cameras, and I think there's going to be several more coming up. NAB is just around the corner. My guess is we're going to see a Sony A7 III, which will be wildly good at low light. Obviously it's going to cost more, like $3,000, $3,500. And there's also rumors of a 4K, more pro level DSLR from Canon that might give us C-Log. I also want to keep my eyes on Blackmagic. I feel like they've been actually somewhat quiet for Blackmagic, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see something from them at NAB as well. So it's just a great time to be shopping for a camera. And for those of you who might be shopping for a camera, I always recommend waiting till after NAB, and then if you can, until the fall holiday season, because if you aren't going to be buying something brand new, you'll often get a deal at that time, and by then all the great cameras have been, you know, announced and all the new stuff has been released, so you have a good idea of what's going on out there. So if you'd like to learn more about those cameras, check the links in the description. If you purchase via those links, those are affiliated, so that hooks me up with a small commission, which is awesome. Thank you very much for those who do that. And stay tuned for content on those cameras, reviews on those cameras, and guides on those cameras. And that's going to do it for this video. Let me know what you thought of all these cameras and all this information in the description below. Otherwise, you can watch fresh videos here at DSLR Video Shooter multiple times a week, and I'll see you in the next video.